Venezuela accused of crimes against humanity that could trigger an international criminal court probe. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, May 29. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. A panel of independent international experts enlisted by the Organization of American States, the OAS, has presented a list of 7 crimes against humanity it says were committed by the Venezuelan government against its people. The 3-member panel made its presentation to the OAS on Tuesday. Former Canadian Justice Minister Irwin Cotler, who sat on the panel, said there is reason to believe that the crimes against humanity were committed as far back as February 12, 2014, and it warrants investigation by the Office of the Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, the ICC. After spending months reviewing evidence and listening to witness testimonies, the experts said the Nicolas Maduro government was involved in multiple murders and at least 12,000 cases of imprisonment and arbitrary detention. It also accused the authorities of torture, rape, political persecution, and enforced disappearances.
Where the report documents multiple murders and extrajudicial executions that have been committed, and this is the crucial point here, that have been committed, it's in each of the crimes against humanity, been committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack against the civilian population, particularly targeting persons believed to be opposing the regime or opposing the regime. In addition, the evidence in this context also discloses, as set forth more fully in the report, that there have been, and Justice Canton referred to this, at least 6,385 cases of extrajudicial executions by state forces or groups and organizations connected with the state and in furtherance of a state policy or organization.
In its more than 400-page report, the panel said widespread attacks on the judiciary have prevented any genuine legal proceedings to investigate the crimes against humanity. The experts recommended that OAS General Secretary Luis Almagro submit the report to the Office of the Prosecutor of the ICC, which could trigger an investigation of Venezuela's government by the International Court. In Barbados, the man who managed the Democratic Labour Party's failed campaign leading up to last week's general election is advising the party against taking the Prime Minister's offer of 2 seats in the Senate. The Constitution makes provision for 2 opposition senators, but in the absence of an official opposition, following the clean sweep by the Barbados Labour Party at the polls, Prime Minister Mia Mottley has proposed a constitutional amendment that would allow the party securing the 2nd largest number of votes in the election, which would be the DLP, to name 2 opposition senators. But DLP stalwart Robert Bobby Morris says his party will earn its place in Parliament again, and it doesn't need to be given any special treatment.
The Democratic Labour Party will be getting back their seats and claiming rightfully by that action their place in the legislature in due course. I think that's going to happen. So I don't think there's any necessity to create a position, especially at this point in time. Opposition in Parliament is not the only type of opposition that is possible, but I don't think the Democratic Party will want to be compromised in terms of their participation. That participation will come as rightfully due by a party that will establish its position with the electorate in due course.
Morris admitted that the BLP ran a much better and more appealing campaign while capitalizing on the prevailing unfavorable economic climate. But he said the DLP would come back stronger. He said it would do some introspection and officials would put their heads together to transition leadership to take the party into the next poll, since former Prime Minister Frandell Stewart had already served notice of his decision to retire from active politics. He will continue to serve as president until the annual general meeting in August, at which a replacement will be chosen. Meantime, DLP General Secretary George Pilgrim, who was one of the unsuccessful candidates in the polls, said the party's executive council would meet on Wednesday to set a date for an election post-mortem. Trinidad and Tobago's Chief Justice Ivor Archie has been given leave to appeal to the Privy Council in his attempt to overturn a decision that allows the country's law association to investigate allegations of misconduct against him. A High Court judge had ruled in March that the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago, LAT, did not have the power to probe the allegations. But last week, the Court of Appeal disagreed, giving the lawyer's body the green light to go ahead. But on Monday, the Chief Justice got a stay of 6 weeks to make arrangements to challenge the ruling at the London-based Privy Council, the Twin Island Republic's highest court. The stay only prevents LAT from holding a special general meeting to discuss a report on the investigations of a subcommittee and the advice given by its external counsel. It does not prevent the association's counsel from having its legal advisors continue with their deliberations. 1 week after Bermuda's Premier David Burt made a fresh case for independence from Britain, it seems citizens are not too keen on going that route. That's according to an opinion poll conducted by the Royal Gazette newspaper. It found that of the 3,000 people who responded to the question, only 22% wanted independence, while 21% said not now, and 57% said not ever. Last week, Burt said it was unfair that Britain still exercised power over the island's affairs. In a 1995 referendum pushed by then Premier Sir John Swan of the United Bermuda Party, almost 3/4 of voters rejected a move to independence. The relationship between the British Overseas Territories and the UK has been the subject of discussion lately, as the UK Parliament recently made amendments to a bill seeking to force the Overseas Territories to implement public ownership registers, a move which prompted accusations of colonialism from some of the territories. St. Kitts and Nevis opposition leader Dr. Denzil Douglas will head back to the court tomorrow as the government seeks to have him removed from the parliament. The Dr. Timothy Harris administration is seeking to get Douglas kicked out because he has a diplomatic passport from Dominica. On Wednesday, a constitutional motion comes up before Justice Trevor Ward, during which the court is expected to hear oral arguments from senior counsel Douglas Mendez, who is representing the government. The judge will also fix a date for the start of the trial. Dominican-born senior counsel Anthony Astafan, who is a member of Douglas's defense team, said following the last brief sitting of the court in April, his client had agreed to disclose the number of times that he had traveled on the diplomatic passport that he said he only used for convenience and travel. Douglas, a former Prime Minister, in a sworn affidavit asked the court to dismiss the charges brought by the Attorney General and also request that costs be paid for wasting the court's time. The government, through Attorney General Vincent Byron, is seeking a declaration from the High Court that since the election on February 16, 2015, Douglas became disqualified from being a sitting member and should vacate his seat. The government is also seeking an injunction restraining him from performing his function as a member of Parliament. And coming up in Caribbean Newsline, a call for paternity leave legislation to be enacted in Jamaica. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
The Civil Service Association in Jamaica is calling for the paternity leave law to be enacted, and it has sought the intervention of Prime Minister Andrew Holness to help fast-track the introduction. Jamaica's Maternity Leave Act of 1979 grants pregnant women leave with pay, protection from dismissal on the grounds of pregnancy, and the right to return to work after giving birth. Trade unions on the island have also been pushing for a period of absence from work for fathers after the birth of their children. Civil Service Association President O'Neill Grant says the Labour Market Reform Committee has already explored the matter, but he says the process appears to have stalled without any further work being done in a year. He says he's hoping the issue will get some momentum now that it has been brought to the attention of Prime Minister Holness.
Been at the Ministry of Labour for some time. We brought it to the Prime Minister's attention at the Partnership for Jamaica that we can't have done so much work under the comprehensive reform of the labour market, and the Commission would have put forward its comments, and it has been languishing for a year without any further work being done on it. We are awaiting the Prime Minister touching base through the Cabinet with the Ministry of Labour to find out from them what are the next steps in the reform of the labour market, particularly in the case that we are growing our labour force. The rate of unemployment is trending in the right direction. However, we do recognize that a lot of it is precarious employment. The rights of workers are not being protected, and it has to do with the fact that the labour laws have not been properly strengthened.
Guyana's Director of Prisons, GLADWIN Samuels, is praising the institution's rehabilitation program, which is designed to reduce the incidence of recidivism. And that's based on the results of a recent survey of inmates in the country's prisons. But Samuels also says there are other areas where the system is lacking and attention must be given in order to bring it up to international standard. We get more in this report from HGP TV.
On the findings of Guyana's first comprehensive survey of prison inmates, recidivism, the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend, is not as big an issue in Guyana compared with other more developed countries across the world. That's according to the Director of Prisons, GLADWIN Samuels.
So it is pointing to the fact that our rehabilitative programs are serving the purpose in terms of preparing prisoners with life skills that will make them better as they go back into society. The study also revealed that there are some areas in which Guyana must improve in order for us to be compliant with the UN minimum standards for the treatment of prisoners.
Mr. Samuels addressing the launch of the Guyana Prison Service inmates' final report on Monday morning. According to the Director of Prisons, despite the fact that the Prison Act has been adjusted to suit the prison service's move to corrections, which will see it becoming even more compliant with the UN minimal rules for the treatment of prisoners, much success has been revealed in this report.
But despite that, the fact that we have not yet adopted that new Prison Act, we have recognized the importance of making adjustments so that the prison service and the government of Guyana will not be cited for being at a state where we are not treating prisoners humanely. It is as a result of this, several efforts are being made through the Ministry of Public Security to ensure that our infrastructure, which plays a major role in terms of providing better housing and training facilities for prisoners, are modernized.
Mr. Samuels explained that the upgrades of holding facilities and construction at prisons, such as in Mazaruni, will also help the Guyana Prison Service comply with rules of the United Nations in relation to inmates and their treatment during incarceration. Also, a case management system for prisoners and more will be pursued during the rest of this year.
We are also looking at the implementation of the rehabilitation model for the Guyana Prison Service and ways in which they can also assist in improving security across our prisons in Guyana. This is a sore point, and I'm happy that only a short while ago I read the comments of the minister, which is in keeping with exactly what is needed. The need for us to move towards technology in order to avoid some of the challenges we face on a daily basis.
He added that one aspect which authorities in Guyana need to ensure is not overlooked is the introduction of modern technology at prisons, since this will also aid in the prevention of prison officers slacking on their jobs and neglecting duties.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, Digicel pulls out of West Indies cricket after 13 years of sponsorship. Stay with us. Sport is next.
The Vibes Cartel single that was released late last year has been given fresh legs with the release of a new video that was released just in time for Mother's Day. The Mama Anthem was produced by Jones Ave Records. The video was produced by Damian Gale, and of course, Cartel, jailed for life, does not appear in the clip.
Oh, thank you, Mama. I won't break your heart, make you proud, I swear to God. Thank you, Mama.
Tell our audience who Ani is and why this whole case came about to begin with.
Ani Chaporian is a strong, brilliant, ethical woman, a physician's assistant with a medical Master's of Science degree from the very prestigious Yale University Medical School program.
Do you wish to combine a vacation with pure laughter? Then St. Martin is the place to be on June 22nd and 23rd for the 14th annual edition of its comedy festival, Laugh Till Belly Burst, with comedians from all over the world. Book hotel and show tickets until June 20th now at www.ltbbsxm.com.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says Cricket Australia is saddened by the state of West Indies cricket. Rowley, a member of CARICOM's Prime Ministerial Subcommittee on Cricket, met with Cricket Australia's Chief Executive James Sutherland along with other executive members last Friday. He told the Trinidad media on Tuesday that he wanted to understand how Cricket Australia dealt with its own challenges. CARICOM has been at loggerheads with Cricket West Indies CWI ever since endorsing a 2015 governance report authored by UWI Caville Principal Professor Eudine Barito, and that report recommended that the immediate dissolution of the governing body. The CWI has put up staunch resistance to the recommendations, labeling them impractical and an unnecessary and intrusive demand. Rowley says many Australians are quite unhappy about the current impasse.
I wanted to meet with Cricket Australia for the simple reason that I wanted to get a first-hand feel from them as to how they went about fixing their problem. And we did meet with Cricket Australia. We met with two of the senior executives, and they did give us good insights. And I could tell you, across Australia, there's a sadness about the demise of West Indies cricket. Every single person I spoke to, and there were many, man, woman, and child, speak about the great tragedy that is the loss of West Indies cricket. And they all spoke very fondly about the years of rivalry with West Indies cricket and the days when, you know, that was the pinnacle of cricket as a game.
Rowley believes any intervention by the International Cricket Council will be critical for the future, and he says the region can learn from how the ICC dealt with the past misfortunes in Cricket Australia.
As a member of that committee, I had valuable insights as to what went on in Australia, where Australia now has cricket run by Cricket Australia. As a matter of fact, one of the things I discovered is that the board, Cricket Australia, how people get there and how they function and who they represent. And it would make interesting conversation here in the West Indies as to how people get into that position in Australia and why Australia cricket is where it is and why ours is where it is.
Staying with the game, Cricket West Indies and telecommunications giant Digicel have severed their sponsorship agreement prematurely, ending a 13-year commercial relationship. In a statement on Tuesday, CWI said that with 1 year still to run on the contract, an agreement had been reached to end the relationship. CWI penned a new 4-year deal with Digicel in 2015, with the Irish company sponsoring the senior men and women's international sides along with the under-19s. Digicel struck up its partnership with West Indies Cricket in a multi-million-dollar sponsorship deal which took effect on the 2004-2005 tour of Australia. The announcement of the termination comes just a week before the start of the home series against Sri Lanka, with tests scheduled for Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad, DARREN Cricket Ground in St. Lucia, and Kensington Oval in Barbados from June 6th to 27th. Digicel came on board with West Indies Cricket after its rival Cable and Wireless, that had been long-term sponsors of West Indies Cricket, pulled out. Test opener Kieran Powell has been named to lead a 13-man Cricket West Indies Presidential's 11 squad in a 3-match series against Sri Lanka starting Wednesday. The squad also includes batsman Jermaine Blackwood, who was dropped from the 13-man unit for the opening test. Sunil Ambrose, Shamar Brooks, John Campbell, Rakeem Cornwall, Miguel Cummins, Jamar Hamilton, Chandapal Hemraj, Keon Joseph, Raymond Reefer, Vishal Singh, Jomel Warrikan have all made the lineup. West Indies, led by Jason Holder, will clash in test at Queen's Park Oval, the DARREN Sammy Cricket Ground, and Kensington Oval. And that, again, is from June 6th to 27th. The final test at the Oval will be an historic day-night affair. In football, Jamaica is backing one of 3 CONCACAF powerhouses, Mexico, the United States or Canada, to host the prestigious FIFA World Cup in 2026. All 3 footballing nations have teamed up to challenge the African continent that is also making its pitch to host the tournament. In this report from TVJ's Simon Preston, the Jamaica Football Federation's General Secretary explains why they have declared their hands early about who they want to win the bid.
TVJ Sports on Monday's opening day of the FIFA Technical Exchange Grassroots program at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, General Secretary of the JFF, Dalton Wint, revealed that the Federation will be backing the joint bid of their CONCACAF colleagues USA, Canada and Mexico for the 2026 World Cup. The 3 CONCACAF nations are going up against the North African nation of Morocco.
You can be selfish in what you're doing, you know, and one of the things, sometimes when you're selfish, it redounds to the benefit of all. And if the FIFA 26 is held in USA, Canada and Jamaica, will definitely benefit from that. And so we will be supporting the United States.
Last time a FIFA World Cup was hosted in North America was the 1994 edition in the United States. In the meantime, Wint says the hosting of the 3-day FIFA grassroots program will benefit Jamaica in the long run.
It will be very impactful. The sort of people that we have inside the room there, led by Andre Virtua, who leads our grassroots program, Lyndon McKean, Downswell, Akilia. These are people, and Douglas, these are people that are passionate about the sport, and we're able to pass the knowledge over out to the wider Jamaica.
Manager of Grassroots and Youth Development at FIFA, PHILLIP ZIMMERMAN, says Jamaica was chosen as the host because of good standards they have been setting in grassroots football.
We believe that Jamaica fulfills these requirements. They have a good grassroots program in place. They are very well organized when it comes to logistics, and it's much easier to organize an event for us with the JFA together.
Zimmerman says the long-term aim of this project is to get more numbers in the sport of football.
Our aim is to increase participation. Grassroots in general, it's kind of the base to all football development. As I said before, you cannot come to the World Cup, the people, they don't appear from somewhere. So you have, as a kid, you have to play a lot with the ball, get the feeling, have fun, enjoy the game, and get the motivation to stay in the game.
Former Assiniboia Downs champion Chavion Chow won twice on Saturday's 7-race card as he tried to kickstart his 2018 campaign at the Western Canada Oval, and we're talking horse racing. The Jamaican teamed up with 6-4 Chance DeHaven to win race 4 over 7.5 furlongs before returning to take race 7 with 6-1 Betsar's Star in a 5.5 furlong sprint. Chow brought DeHaven to challenge and win a duel with Dawson Dude by a neck. Darren Dunn has the call.
And they're off. From the inside, Dawson Dude. away well in between horses. Heart of Valor on the far outside. Phenomenal Phoenix wants the lead. Heads right out there. Settled back in fourth. Academic Code with a lot of horse. Your early trailers are going to be Jackson Sundown and DeHaven. But there's only 3 lengths from front to last. Now 3 horses hook up on the front end through an opening quarter of 25 and 3. Dawson Dude on the inside, in between horses. Phenomenal Phoenix, 3 wide. That's Academic Code. Rallying from the back. DeHaven is getting going. And then Heart of Valor and the trailer Jackson Sundown. A short lead for Academic Code through a half of 49 and 2. Dawson Dude on the rail in second, making a big move 3 wide. That's DeHaven, and Jackson Sundown is getting into gear from last. And then it's back to Phenomenal Phoenix and Heart of Valor. They're heading the head of the lane. A short lead on the outside for DeHaven. Battling back on the inside. Dawson Dude does not want to give up. Academic Code back to third, and Jackson Sundown in fourth. Dawson Dude pokes his nose in front again. DeHaven fighting back on the outside. On the far outside, Heart of Valor with late strides. But it looks like DeHaven got it done in race 4.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Again, the major developments of this day. A panel of experts accuses the Venezuelan government of committing crimes against humanity, setting the stage for a potential investigation by the International Criminal Court. And in sport, Cricket Australia saddened by the state of West Indies cricket, and Digicel ends its sponsorship of the game in the region. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.